the manga anime digital event by Bluefin and Bandai Namco Collectibles. We're really excited. The response so far, first day we had a couple awesome panels. We're super excited for this panel that we'll introduce in just a second. Just wanted to go through a couple quick housekeeping items. First of all, make sure you go to bluefinbrands.com/made to see all of the specials, deals, bundles, and all of our amazing pricing during this event. And be sure to follow us at Bluefin Brands and at Tamashii Nations, where we're doing just a slew of giveaways. And we're also going to be posting some figure reveal that we're going to be doing later on today. So only if we're good, though. So David Clark, are you ready?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Well, why don't you introduce the amazing talent that we have with us today?
So we have 4 really awesome photographers whose stuff just continues just to blow me away. So we have Spencer at Switpix. Thank you for coming today.
Hey.
The Only Black Series is here. Alex from Toyark, and Johnny, aka Sergeant Bananas. You guys, you 4, just blow me away every time. So thank you guys for coming.
Oh, thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Yeah.
Now imagine we're in an actual panel and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" They're just going nuts for every name David said. Everyone's just going nuts. Yeah, like David said, you guys are awesome. I think every time I take a picture of a figure, I think, "Oh man, this is as good as it's ever going to get." And then someone will say, "Hey, you see what they posted?" And they'll like swipe through like 4 pictures that I'm like, "Oh man, I suck." So how did you all kind of get into it? I guess we can since this is kind of a Brady Bunch situation, maybe we'll go top row to bottom row. So Spencer, how did you get started in toy photography?
Yeah, so I got started in figure photography. It was right when Force Awakens was coming out, actually, and I just saw the Force Friday that the other brand that shall not be named did, and kind of started with getting back into Star Wars figures, and I saw people on Instagram doing toy photography, and Sergeant Bananas is one of those persons. I saw his work and inspired me and wanted me to take photos of toys, and so Star Wars kind of brought me back in and started collecting and been shooting toys ever since. Started mainly with Star Wars, but been branching out over the years, getting different things, and so it's a fun hobby to collect. And there's also these other people right here with the panel that do great work, and it's fun to share that with other people too. So yeah,
Star Wars is good at sucking you back in. Every 10 or so years, when you think you're done with Star Wars, they're like, "Hey, all new movies, all new figures, come back, join us, Dark Side."
Exactly. I mean, I collected a lot of toys when I was younger, but then when I got older, not really so much. But then as soon as that came out, I saw the toys again. I was like, "That's cool." And then I mixed with the photography aspect on Instagram and other photographers that I just saw on there, on a day-to-day basis. Like, that's cool. I want to try it, and been doing it ever since. So
nice, awesome. What about you, Johnny? How did you get started?
Yeah, I guess I've been a lifelong collector, and going in becoming an adult and all that stuff, I kind of fell out of it and then fell back into it, and then back in 2013 or so, I started buying toys that I had as a kid, kind of recollecting the lines that I loved when I was younger, and then from there I made an Instagram, and I was kind of just posting pictures of my collection and whatnot, and then I don't know, one day I just kind of thought I should take a picture of this. It was a character, and the picture's terrible, but that was the beginning. So I took a picture of this Ninja figure, and I kind of just discovered that I love to do this. Even when you're a kid and you're playing with toys in your room, you're making the sound effects, you're setting them up, but as an adult, I didn't do that. I wasn't it's kind of I would look at them and pose them and just think how they looked cool. But when I discovered the photography aspect of it, it kind of was the perfect storm and collaboration of 2 things coming together. And yeah, I've never looked back ever since. And that was the beginning for me. That's how I got into this. So collecting and then the photography aspect, and those two worlds combining.
Nice. All right. And Alex runs one of our favorite websites, Toyark.com. As you can see from behind him, he does own a couple figures, 1 or 2. So Alex, where did your love and your passion for toy photography begin?
Well, we were always doing stuff for the websites, and I always wanted to do product reviews and stuff like that. So basically, I just started trying to recreate what the companies were doing with white background stuff and stuff like that, because a lot of times they weren't doing that well. 10, 15 years ago. They were just kind of doing it here and there. So, and then once I got on Instagram and saw all the stuff you guys do, it kind of made me go, oh, I want to try that, or I want to try that. So now I do the fancy stuff or try to. And, the rest is history. 10 years later, I'm still practicing
there
and trying new things out.
Crazy.
That's awesome. And now for my new favorite TikToker, Black Series A. You got to follow him on TikTok, because one of my favorite things with toy photography, I know Justin's as well, is it's great to see these images, but what I like to see is kind of the behind the scenes peek at like how this magic happens. And you do a great job on TikTok, on other platforms too, but I've become obsessed with TikTok as a 42-year-old man lately. Go through your origins of toy photography and maybe talk about TikTok.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's funny. Actually, my story is almost identical to Spencer. And funny story, we actually we started our accounts and posted our first toy photo on the same day. And I think we liked each other's photo. We commented, and then we were literally friends from that first day until now. But yeah, for me, it was The Force Awakens. I actually really liked Captain Phasma, and I'm like, I need a toy of that. She's cool. I want a toy. And I was searching for a figure for her forever. And it was becoming clearer and clearer to me that this toy was really hard to find for some reason. And finally found her. And I posted a photo of her on my personal Instagram. It was just super amped. Look at this awesome figure. And it got 10 likes. And one of my wife's friends was like, I don't get it. She commented or something. And I was just like, oh man. And then kind of just searching through Instagram, I started coming across The Line and other photographers, and Johnny, similar to Spencer. Johnny was a huge influence, and just the amazing work he was doing in the beginning. I was like, man, I want to do this too. And so I set up my account. I posted the same shot on there, and it's almost immediately, it was the best thing ever. I mean, you start meeting other people that are interested in the same thing, and then one figure becomes a million, and the rest is kind of history. And now, yeah, with TikTok is just I don't even know. TikTok is crazy. I mean, the guys that are on it, they know it's weird and it's just fresh and new, and it's been a crazy ride, and it's really fun to kind of see the kids getting into it. I'm getting a lot of comments of kids wanting to get into toy photography and being super amped and liking it. And so I think it's really cool, and it's kind of cool to kind of be the Johnny to these kids and get them into it, so I like it.
Nice. Yeah, you saw Captain Phasma, you're like, that's a character that's going to get a lot of screen time. I'm going to latch onto this one. Is Rider to the Train.
That's
right.
I bought so much merchandise for her.
Yeah. So now, Johnny and Alex, you guys have been doing this for quite a while now. Is it still fun? Do you still love playing with action figures and taking photos of it, or at some point does it become kind of like a job type thing? Or are you still just that happy giddy kid?
You want to go first, Alex, or I don't care. Yeah.
So I still love it. At times, because we do stuff for the website. It's not. Whenever I do a shoot that you might see on Instagram, you see 1 or 2 pictures. There's probably another 30 to 100 on the website. So getting all of that done and then doing that for all the figures, and then sometimes it piles up and you got 10 new figures and you want to get it all out there at the same time, and that sometimes it feels a little bit worky then, but then you remember I'm taking pictures of action figures, so it's not so bad. But generally, yeah, I still love doing it for sure.
Nice. What about you, Johnny?
Yeah, so the first answer is yes. I definitely love it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't, and I think as an art form, an artist, if you're not passionate about it, I think it'll kind of show and you'll kind of just die off. So honestly, one of the questions that I kind of get a lot is what inspires you? And one of the answers that I always say is the actual figures themselves, because if it wasn't for that stuff, you see a figure, you look at it, and then you get an idea immediately. That's kind of what fuels it. And then also that's why my collection is crazy out of control. So I need this, I need that. But yeah, I mean, it's it's what I love to do. It's like the number one thing that I want to do. I think about it all the time. I actually do this for a living as well, so there is a work aspect of it. And so sometimes I do have the feeling, kind of like what to Alex's point about, like, you have all these things that have to get done. So at times like that, it does feel more like work oriented. But yeah, like at the end of the day, you're taking pictures of toys, which is, what I love to do anyways. So yeah, I've been doing it for a while, and I plan to keep doing it. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, I mean, and one of the things that all four of you do amazingly is bring out the personality of the figure. Anyone can just put a figure, standing like this, maybe a gun like that, and click a picture. But you guys really do a great job of pulling out that personality. So Spencer, is there a science to that? Is finding that moment in that figure and bringing out some kind of emotion, if it's nostalgia for us or if it's just showing off how awesome the figure is? What's the process like that?
That's a great question, and oftentimes it really just kind of depends on the figure, and also depending on maybe what mood I'm in. Recently I received the Dragon Ball Z figure. I'm not really into Dragon Ball Z. I don't really know much about it, but this figure, it was awesome. The posability is amazing, the articulation, and I posted it recently, just like kind of a more macro shot, just a close up, just to show the detail of the figure. And and for me, when I got the figure, that's kind of what I wanted to do, and just show it off. And so, there's a lot of things to do with the toy photography, and that's what I love about the art form. Because you can get super, you can do all these crazy setups, you can do crazy action shots with fireworks, debris, everything, or you can just do like just a macro shot just to show the detail of the character and the figure. And that's one thing I really love about the art form, because there's so much you can do with it, and every figure has so many possibilities to it too. And so it just kind of varies and depends, but that's just something that how I approach it, and try to do different things, and do just experiment and try different lighting techniques, different effects. But yeah, I think that's kind of why I love what we do.
Awesome. Now, David, the other David, he sent you some figures to do some fun stuff with. So you wanna walk us through this, David? The magic.
Yeah. Oh well, let's start with.
You seem so surprised, like, oh my god, I'm on this live stream.
No, I was like, let's start with Spencer. If Mr. Background Guy again, you could pop up some of the photos he sent. It was really cool. I don't even know how you guys make all these effects and how you do lighting. Like I just learned how to light the green screen behind me. So like I'm like ground level. So like how do you go about doing a shoot like this?
So if you go back to the first one, was more of just the macro shot, and it's really a pretty straightforward shot. And with the light, I had, I think, 3 different lights. I kind of had a light on top coming down on the figure, and then a blue light underneath it to give that little blue hue. You can kind of see it in the eyes a little bit, and then just another fill light to fill it in. So that was this one. It was more of a pretty simple shot, but I really liked how it turned out. I thought that the colors popped pretty well, and just to show off the amazing detail and the sculpt of the figure to begin with. And then on the next one that I did, I really love, like, one thing I love about Bandai and SH Figuarts figures are the multiple hands, the different faces and different expressions, and that's one thing I wanted to show, is like the different face and the different expression with the hand and the posability of the figure. And for this one, it's not a pretty straightforward shot. I just have like a white poster board in the background that I have have light shining on it, so it gets kind of bright, and then the flame effects, and then just kind of lit them up to kind of just to make it look like fire, and kind of how he's in the middle of an action pose and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of what with these shots that I did, and they were fun to do. And again, I don't know much about Dragon Ball Z, but I know a lot of people, it's an awesome series and a lot of people love it, and I love the figure, so I'm definitely wanting to learn more, and we'll most likely get into it. So it's really cool.
Awesome. Okay. And Isaiah, you sent me I think every photograph on the planet. But if we could show just a few of those, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Just send it in on a hard drive.
I think it's coming.
It's loading.
It's got to load. There's a lot.
It's so many.
A terabyte takes a long time to load, huh?
Ooh,
Oh yeah, Gunpla. Yeah, if we want to talk about the Gunpla stuff,
I do. I love Gunpla. Please.
yeah, I think for me, I mean, obviously, I just love the kits. I love building it. But on the photography side, and then especially doing it this way, like this shot in particular, that figure, it's a high grade. So those that know that, I mean, they're tiny, and something so cool to me about trying to make them look like they're massive life size. I mean, the detail on this kit I got literally for $8, and then put a little bit of work and a little bit of love into it. And yeah, I love just kind of doing these composite edits with the Gundams, and then this is Obsidian, and putting them in the water, making them look super massive, and just showing the detail that's like this big, but it's so detailed, it's so beautiful, and you can capture that so well. And so I love doing the Gundam shots. And then also, yeah, I got my Dragon Ball Z shot and my Goku shot in with my daughter's magnifying glass. A lot of people have been asking me about this shot. I wanted to do it practically. I wanted to get that light in there practically. And my daughter, she just got a magnifying glass recently, and we were playing with it. I also let her play with my LumeCube lights, and I was like, hey, look, you can just, you can magnify the light. All right, I wanted to actually see if it would work, but I was kind of showing her, and then I realized, like, hey, you can actually really like focus this light pretty awesome. And I instantly was like, oh, I'm going to use this for Goku. And so I set up the magnifying glass, and I had the light going through, and I sprayed some atmosphere aerosol in there and was able to get that beam practically. And it worked out. It worked out better than I thought it was going to while I was setting it up. But it was a super fun setup to do, and that was a really cool shot to work on, and then put on TikTok.
Yeah, if you want to see the behind the scenes, you guys are cool behind the scenes. I'm watching it, and I'm like, what's he magnifying? Was he like Carmen Sandiego or something like that? What's going on? And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, that's why he takes pictures like that. I take pictures like I do.
Awesome. And I think we have some photos from you as well, Alex, right?
Yeah.
So let's see if those should be slightly easier to bring up. It was less than the hard drive full, so
It was more just like he just gave us a whole computer, and it's like it's just easier. Just sort through this.
Now we're actually hardlined directly into his hard drive. It's a lot faster. So these are some of the Meisho figures. Oh,
yeah. So this one was me trying to beat Johnny for 5 minutes that I was doing that. Basically, I look at what everybody does, and I don't want to jock styles, but I do like to try and experiment and see if I can technically do it. So basically, this is all practical. So that's all cooking flour that's on the floor, and it was blown up in the air and shot all in one shot. So there's no Photoshop there other than polish.
Oh, wow.
Same thing with that. That's all
gorgeous.
Practical. Yeah. Oh, well, the laser beam is Photoshop, but
right.
He didn't actually fire the laser beam.
no, laser beam.
What kind of cleanup is involved in a shot like that? Like that's got to be kind of hard, right?
A lot, which is why you don't see me doing that very often. Because all of those shelves behind me and everything else in this room just has a slight dusting of flour when I'm done. So basically, I'm only doing that on special events from now on. So,
Nice.
Johnny, you get props for all of your fireworks and explosions and flour. Yeah, these were all done for celebration for you guys a couple years ago, and yeah. So those are all.
Yeah, that group shot hangs up in one of our main conference rooms.
It does, yeah. It's
just
pretty
the
awesome.
coolest.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
So dope.
Nice. And then of course, Johnny, you also sent us some photos. Thank you. They were all super dope. Hopefully they'll show up too. I believe in you, Mr. Background.
His name's Justin.
But it's funnier that way.
It is. It's also funny when we yell at him like he's in a back room somewhere.
Yeah, he's
literally
not.
on the other end of our headset.
Oh wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah, That's
an
awesome.
older one, but a fun one. Um, yeah, I basically like to break this down. I pretty much just put the giant ant or Antony or whatever his name changes throughout the movies, I think, but uh, the ant on a stand, and then kind of just shot at an upward angle, and then sprayed some kind of some mist to kind of just give it an extra like texture and effect there. It's pretty well. Kind of going back to that though, something that, well, you can keep going, but like something that I will note though is basically the whole concept for this photo was based off of the pose. So like sometimes like I'll just sit there watching TV and I'll have the figure in my hand and I'll just be playing with it, and I'll get something that I like, and then that kind of it'll start from there. So that's like the building block. So it'll be like, oh, I like that. I like how he's like hanging off like that, and then the rest of the idea will kind of form together. And then kind of at the very end, like I'll usually like ask myself like, oh, does it need an effect, or is it good, or like things like that. So that's kind of where that shot kind of stemmed from was that pose that he's in.
Nice. I don't think that's not loading correctly.
I just couldn't keep it blurry like that.
Those are my favorite
It's a
kind of shots.
technique.
Don't want to reveal too much. I mean,
I mean, speaking of that, do you guys have any stories of like funny like bloopers, like or like mistakes that either you fixed before it went to post, or that you posted and you're like, oh no?
well, there's another one.
Oh hey, okay, there we go.
Good old fashioned dust and debris right there. Again, like with something like this, I have to say like the movie realization line is like my favorite line, like probably period, like currently. I mean, it's been like that for years, but I just love that line. That Iron Spider, that was we're actually Alex and I were part of a thing for Comic-Con one year. We had some of these photos up in the Tamashi booth, and I think that photo was featured in that. It's like a couple years ago. And the C3PO with the snow, that's flour. Just sprinkle it. I mean, it sounds simple when I say it like that. I do have a method to it, but it is literally just flour, and then just kind of going like this, and then the rest of it is kind of just knowing your way around the camera and adjusting to like the lighting and things like that. It makes a big difference, because if you just were to take your phone and get your flour, put your figure on there, and then go ahead and do that, it's not going to look the same. Not to say you couldn't achieve something like that, but
It's hard.
You need a separation.
the depth helps.
One question I always have for you guys is, how do you guys get those really cool backgrounds? Like both like the background images, but also just like the physical stuff. Like, do you make that, or is there like a secret place you could go to get dioramas?
There's a lot. Oh well, I was just gonna say there's a lot of talented diorama artists that you can commission to like build basically whatever you want for the figure. So that's one way, like it's kind of tailor-made stuff where it like really like looks like the environment they would be in, and it's to scale. That's usually what's going on, is like a custom built diorama. I mean, you can also just composite the whole thing and Photoshop the environment around them. You can go outside and just use natural lighting and just like a natural environment as well. I guess the main takeaway I would say is like, you don't need any specific thing to get out there and start taking photos of the figures you have. Like, if you don't have a diorama, that's fine. Go outside, like find like a grassy area or like some trees or something. Like, it's super easy to just get going.
Yeah, for me, I have a guy locally that I'm friends with. He's on Instagram, Crimson Guard Immoral, Kevin. But he does a lot of the stuff you'll see in my shots that are physical, like that base that was in that shot there. And I have a whole wall full of just boom pieces of things that was good for one situation, and then now it gets used over and over. But I can fill up a house of just dioramas, if I keep building them for every single figure. So plus they cost money, so you got to kind of pick and choose your battles. So I try to use some, like other people use digital printouts for their backgrounds, and they put them in front of their computer. But I don't do that. I shoot with flash, so the computer screens won't show up. So I actually print out in 18 by 24 sizes or bigger, just backgrounds. So if you see this is a physical thing from another company that does like cardboard dioramas, and they're awesome too. But yeah, I'll just print out backgrounds huge as like that right there is a screen cap from the movie with a physical floor. You know, you just got to keep whatever you can do. Go outside, build it, print it out, put it in front of your computer screen, whatever you can do and afford, do it, you know.
Yeah, and even something simple, just like colored card stock. I know I've got like a white cardstock board or blue board, and then use my TV screen on occasion if you wanted to do something like that. But yeah, I think just what everyone was saying. You know, there's a lot of things you can do, but just be creative and do what you have, and just do it. There's a lot of things you can do.
Yeah, I think like for me in the beginning, I was doing a lot of stuff on my kitchen floor. I shoot a lot in my backyard, and you just kind of find an area that's nondescript or whatever, or you just grab random stuff out of the garage that looks like it could be whatever, and you just throw it back there and you just have fun with it. I think I do have a couple dioramas. I have a good Tatooine one from Dakota, Dagobah Customs, and that it's awesome, but it's massive. And I think I would probably have a real problem if I didn't have a very small house with no space, because they're so huge. And so I think the Digirama, Jason Young's Digirama using your computer screen is very effective if you want to have a very specific background. But yeah, just getting outside or just using whatever you think looks interesting is good. Just have fun with it.
Nice. Now, you guys all mentioned space. So Johnny, you've been doing it a while. How do you handle space? I mean, all these figures come in boxes. Talked about dioramas. We got lights. We got different lenses. I mean, I see your workshop behind you. But
Yeah.
I mean, how do you handle all of this stuff?
Day by day. Like, I don't know if you can see, like, there's a table right there, and there's like kind of a setup going on. Basically I'll get what I'm trying to get, and then that comes off, and then I basically try to like leave it up there and make sure I got it. I get every kind of shot I want to get, then move on to the next, and then kind of like move it off to the side. Like, if you could see to the right and left of me right now, it's figures just like this. It's just like, here's the computer, figures, like of all kinds, all like in all different kinds of poses. So like it's literally spread everywhere in here, like a tree root. It's just like there's some above, there's some below, there's some to my right, left, up, like everywhere. And I try to have some organization to it, but like I'm sure like Alex, with a collection of your size, like how hard that can be at times, where you just have so much stuff's coming in. Good problem to have, I might add, but like it's just, it gets a little dicey to navigate at times, where you're like, oh, this is awesome, and then here comes another tower of boxes like this, and then you don't want to become like a hoarder, like on hoarder status or something like that.
So for me, I pretty much decided, unless it's a expensive figure right off the bat, I throw the boxes away. I know that's blasphemy, but I got like halfway through the red boxes from another brand. I was like, this is stupid. This is like half of my. It was just because they were empty, and it's in case maybe in 10 or 15 or 20 years I decide to sell it. It's there. I don't know. It's just not worth it to me. So that's part of it. And then I have a basement, thank God. So I just have 30-gallon tubs stacked to the ceiling, full of empty boxes and stuff that I can't display. So, but basically, I don't let it infect the rest of my house. This is this, and I got some more stuff on the sides. But if it doesn't fit in this room, it's in a tub or it gets sold, because I'm not doing that. So,
you guys are lucky, man. I have a small 3-bedroom, and I have 2 kids. When I only had my one daughter, I got my office, so I had my office with my collection and all my stuff. And then we had our son a couple years ago now, and so I got moved off to like the corner of the living room, and everything gets to go in the closet or the garage or wherever I could possibly fit it. And actually, I'm at work. Oh, nice. I'm at work right now, and I have at the office, I have my own dedicated shelf of all of my stuff as well, and it's definitely just taking over my whole life. And every time I get a new box, my wife just rolls her eyes lovingly, and I just add it to the pile. But it's definitely it's definitely a good issue that I have. But that's why I only have one diorama.
Yeah,
but it's double-sided.
That's
I'm
right.
lucky
Yeah.
too, where I have a basement and I have my own office room down here, but it's filled with figures. And I too don't keep most of my boxes. I only keep boxes I think for higher end figures, but most of them I recycle and get rid of because it just takes up space. But yeah, it's filling up and just keeps going more and more. But it's a good thing because there's way cool figures keep coming out, and you got to keep getting them.
Well, you mentioned ditching the boxes, Alex. Is it hard to balance doing this as a career and trying to be a collector? Can you be both?
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, this is like the websites are not my 100% job, but they're a part of it. So I do freelance work, and then I also do the websites. And you can do both. I still enjoy it. Sometimes, like especially around con season, I know everybody loves Comic-Con and all the different cons. But when you have to do, I know you guys, I can't imagine you guys. You're at everyone, which is crazy. But just, sometimes it's not fun anymore. You're treating the convention more like work. Like I need to get this done fast. That like it, I kind of lose the allure, which is why I'm partially glad we're on timeout this year, just from that aspect. Everything else, no, but I get a break from the con, so next year when I go back, it'll be fresh and fun again. I think.
I feel you on that,
We
dude.
need that.
There are times where it's like Comic-Con, yay!
So I want to. Sometimes you lose the kid-like excitement that you have when you see the figures or whatever for the first time, because it's in your face constantly. So taking a time out every once in a while, I think is good to refresh yourself.
Definitely. Now the photo quality you guys have is just intense. I know you're not using some old cell phone for these. What kind of cameras do you guys use to pull off this stuff?
I shoot with a Sony A7 II or Mark II, I guess what it is. So it's a mirrorless full frame camera. I started off with an initial Nikon, just kind of one of the starting ones, but yeah, so I've kind of gone up to the full frame, and I like the mirrorless Sony. I think Johnny shoots with Sony too, but yeah, I mean, honestly, like there's so many cameras out there, so many different kinds, and just all of them do such great stuff these days, and so you really can't go wrong even with like an entry level camera if you're wanting to get started into toy photography. But depending on what you want to do with photography, that depends on what kind of camera you want to get. But yeah, that's what I use.
Yeah, I have a Micro Four Thirds Panasonic Lumix GH5, which we've kind of gone through the different line of Lumix. So we've had like the GH2, GH3, GH4, GH5. We love those cameras. We use them a lot actually for work and video and everything. And so it's a great camera. But similar to what Spencer's saying, I think being able to shoot RAW is a huge part of it, which I'm sure all these guys are shooting RAW. And so the body to me doesn't matter so much. It's more just as long as you can shoot RAW, and I think the lens plays a lot more of a larger part in the kind of final quality of the shot. And then of course, just the post-processing, editing, and all of that type of stuff. But that's what I shoot with.
Yeah, I shoot with a Sony A7 Mark I. I was getting new bodies like I was on the Sony A5000 series and the next series before that. and then eventually I jumped up to full frame. But then I was like, I don't think I need to drop $4,000 on a camera every 3 years. So basically, it's more about, once you get to a certain point, it's about knowing how to control your camera, both the menus, the buttons, knowing what it can and can't do, and then a lens. I think lenses, it really is. Even the kit lenses are pretty good now. But if you want to take macro shots, like close-ups of these small figures, I think getting a good macro lens is important. And then it's just control. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have a Sony A7R III and a 90mm macro. Pretty much ever since I got into like the photography aspect and I got like an actual DSLR, I've been using a macro lens. For me personally, it's just that's the only lens I have. It's kind of been the only lens I've used throughout this whole time I've done this whole thing. And I've navigated through it. Certain times it's not the most ideal lens, but most of the time I find that it's perfect for me. That being said, like we all named the cameras that we have, but I started off using my phone. And for anybody that's listening that's wanting to get into this, you can definitely just, you can use your phone for sure. Especially like nowadays, they're getting better and better. Like there's nothing wrong with using a phone at all. Like it's in some cases, like when I think about it, you just go out there and you have it in your pocket, you pull it out, and you just boom. It's like a easy, quick, one and done type thing. Like sometimes, like the setup for these things is so, tedious. You got your tripod, you got your camera, you're getting it to the right level, and then you're setting all. It becomes a thing. I mean, if you didn't love it, you wouldn't want to do it. So for someone that's listening that wants to get into this, I would say, like start out with your phone maybe, unless you have a camera. And then if you like it enough, maybe go ahead and upgrade to a camera and then kind of take that journey on as well.
Nice. Now, for that War Machine shot, was that a bomb we saw you set off behind it? What was that?
Yeah, that's actually my shot. It's just a little crackle ball firework thing. You just set off. Yeah, little firework.
That's pretty crazy. How you?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that is my shot, but that's definitely inspired by Johnny Woo, classic Johnny Woo, who is just such a innovator in toy photography, and from the very beginning has like been doing the fireworks and the dust explosions and the snow, and so if that looks any cool at all, it's only because I'm copying Johnny and wanting to be cool like him.
Give yourself more credit. It does look cool. But it's funny, like just like the firework thing, like with just a simple little firework like that, like look what you can achieve if you put like the time and effort into it.
Yeah.
Like it's something like you just got it there on the ground, and look at the end result. So, like you guys were saying in the beginning, it's cool you like seeing the end result, but it's like it's cool to see like how that was achieved. So it's like things like that I think people really appreciate seeing.
Definitely.
Now we have a couple minutes before we put the live chat out of their misery. They've been clawing at us to do the reveal. We'll do it just a handful of minutes. What you guys kind of talked about, just getting out there and starting to take pictures. If this is something you're interested in, what kind of resources would you have them? Would you suggest they look into? Just kind of following toy photographers and seeing what they're doing and kind of ingratiating themselves in the community, or is there somewhere you would directly point them to get into this?
Yeah, social media, like kind of just in general, and there's a lot of people on Instagram. I know a lot of people are moving to TikTok as well, but like I think between the two of those, you got your bases covered. If you just search the hashtag or something on Instagram, toy photography, a ton of stuff's going to come up, and then you can kind of just dig in from there, see what you like, kind of try to emulate that, and yeah, a lot of people are willing to share. Like, don't hesitate to reach out to people if you are inspired by their work. You can ask. Mostly everybody's friendly. So, yeah, that's my advice.
I would look on on YouTube and research how professional photographers light their stuff. So whether it's a portrait photographer or a product photographer or a fashion photographer, a lot of them will have semi-professional videos explaining and showing how they lit up this thing for this final picture. Now you're not going to do that exactly, but you'll start seeing the process and the logic behind how to light things, and it'll let you go from there. So a lot of what I do is I learned how to light things by watching fashion photographers and portrait photographers, because they have to control their light to get their end result in the studio. So if you start to understand those processes, you'll be able to apply that to the toys. I think it's a good starting, on ramp to everything, I think.
Yeah, I think in general it's so easy to kind of get into, but at the same time, at this time especially, I feel like it can be a little intimidating for new people just because there's so many people doing it and there's so many really high quality photographers. And so what I usually tell people when they're kind of asking for tips to get started or what camera they should use, it's really just use what figures you have and just start doing it. I think Johnny totally hit it on the head. Like you can use your phone, no problem. I mean, I have final shots. Some of those Gundam shots you've been sharing, the background is shot with my phone, and you can, it's kind of a learning process. And so I would say get involved in the toy community on social media. Use your phone, use the figures you have, just have fun with it. Be creative, and if you see something you like, reach out to that artist and ask them for help, ask them how they did it, and just try to continually get better and have fun with it, really.
Yeah, and I mean, just what everyone said, I think just have fun, and I mean, like, reaching out to people on Instagram, or really just trying new things, like what Alex was saying, just trying different lighting techniques. And there's a lot of, because like toy photography really isn't much different than other types of photography. It's like you're having models, so to speak. You're doing portraits or whatever, but you have complete control over everything. And so you can control your environment, you can control the pose, the lighting. And I get a lot of inspiration from movies, from comic books, and other types of photography that aren't toy photography. And so just reach out and then kind of develop your own style and do what you like, and use what you have, and just have fun. I think that's the biggest thing is we're adults playing with toys and kind of living out our childhood dreams of playing with action figures. We get to do it now, but kind of create art with it at the same time. So just have fun and reach out to people on Instagram or other social media. Most people are happy to talk, answer any questions, and share their process. And I personally on Instagram, usually I like to show my behind the scenes, and I know a lot of people on TikTok or other places show how they do their setups and lighting and stuff. So there's a lot of resources out there. Just don't be afraid to reach out and have fun.
For sure.
Okay, great. So right before we get to the reveal, where do you want people to come find you? We'll start with Spencer here on the top. What's your handle and what's your preferred social media?
So my handle is @switpics. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Instagram is really where I'm at more, but so you can follow me anywhere, just @switpics.
Awesome. What about you, Johnny? Where do you want folks to find you?
Just on Instagram @SergeantBananas. That's where I'm at pretty much solely.
Awesome. Alex, what about you?
Well, I guess I'm a little old, so I actually have a website. So go to Toyark.com, and then we're also on Instagram and Twitter. We're on the other ones too, but a human will respond to you on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah. So.
Very nice. What do you say?
I'm at Black Series, BLKSRS, on pretty much every social media, Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook. I have a website, but then my main one is definitely Instagram, and I guess now TikTok. But yeah, reach out to me. I know actually on one of the things I always end my posts with is the any questions. And for me, it's really true. I love just interacting with the community and interacting with anybody. So if anybody has questions, like send me a message because that's my favorite part.
All right, awesome. Well, now it's up to Justin in the back end here. A lot of guesses, a lot of people guessed. I can tell you that some people did guess this figure. A lot of people guessed Goku. If you guessed Goku, you are not right, but you are barking up the right tree. So, Justin, let's go ahead and roll that out. Still looking at us.
What's it gonna be?
動画をご覧の皆様、こんにちは。ハマシネーションズドラゴンボール担当の三岡です。いつもフィギュアの応援、本当にありがとうございます。現在、プレミアムバンダイ USA で受注中のフィギュアーツ孫悟飯少年期。こちら皆さんご購入していただけましたか？この商品、サイヤ人編、ナメック星編の両方のご飯の髪型パーツが入っており、フィギュアを使ってさまざまなシーンを再現して遊ぶことができる商品となっております。10月発売のピッコロ、誇り高きナメック星人と並べたくなる一品です。ぜひご購入ください。そして本日は6月21日、父の日です。お父さんの皆さん、普段お勤めご苦労様です。本日は自分のご褒美に買いたくなる一品をご紹介したいと思います。先ほどご紹介した孫悟飯の父でもある孫悟空の新シリーズの商品でございます。こちら、イマジネーションワークス孫悟空です。こちらのフィギュアは魂ネーションズが新たに自信を持ってお届けする9分の1スケールのフィギュアになります。造形、彩色、質感、価値、可動の5つのポイントをこだわったシリーズとなっております。上半身の腕パーツにはシームレス機構を使用し、スタチューフィギュアのような完成度を再現しながらしっかり稼働するという今までにない最高峰の商品となっております。そして今日は皆様にビッグニュースをお持ちしております。悟空の父といえば誰だか分かりますか皆さん。そうです、バーダックです。ついに SH フィギュアーツドラゴンボールシリーズにバーダックが登場します。惑星ベジータを守るため悪の帝王フリーザとの戦いで命を落としてしまった孫悟空の父バーダックを SH フィギュアーツでついに初商品化いたします。印象的な戦闘服に身を包んだサイヤ人の戦闘員であるバーダック、続報を楽しみにお待ちください。私からは以上になります。今後も魂ネーションズの応援のほどよろしくお願いします。ありがとうございました。
All right, Bardock, coming to SH Figure Arts. I know a lot of people have been clamoring for it, and we're happy to announce it. It is a Father's Day reveal, but it is Father's Day already in Japan, and they were nice enough to let us do the reveal on our panel here today. I saw a lot of other people making a lot of other guesses. In July, there's going to be a couple conventions. There's going to be a Funimation convention. There will also be near the middle of the month, a Tamashii Features convention where we will announce other reveals. And some of them were also guests, and some of them weren't guests. And I know you're going to be very surprised when you hear about it. So within the next 3 or 4 weeks, you should have, probably 8 or 9 new reveals that you'll be super excited about in the Figure Arts Zero, and Figure Arts mini lines. So we'll just go through. I know, Spencer, you're not a huge Dragon Ball fan, but now you have to be because you have to find out who the Bardock guy is, right?
I don't need to figure it all out. No, it looks great.
Now, Alex, I know you are a Dragon Ball guy. Bardock seems to be something that people have been clamoring for. We saw a lot of people asking for Raditz and other people as first form Frieza and stuff like that.
Yep.
Are you excited that Bardock is joining the Figure Arts line?
Yeah. Anything that kind of fills in the ranks, because all the core guys have been done multiple times now. So being 10 years in, you kind of want to start getting those second and third tier guys. And Bardock is a fan favorite, but he was in things for like 5 seconds at a time over the years. So I want him. I get it. I'm more hyped about that kid Gohan that is on Premium Bandai. Like I want the in-scale kids for 5 years. So they're starting that process, and I'm happy. And yes, Bardock for sure. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing about the Kid Gohan figure is you get spiky hair or bowl cut. It's your choice, however you want to display your figure. I'm going spiky cut because as a kid of the 90s, I had a bowl cut, and I don't want to forget those days. Johnny, what's your relationship with Dragon Ball?
None, honestly. I know what it is, and I mean I know what Dragon Ball is. I don't know the characters very well, so I will say that I know that line is high quality stuff, and for the people that are excited for it, I'm sure they'll be pleased when they get it in their hands.
Nice. What about you, Isaiah? You a fan?
I'm new to Dragon Ball, same as these guys. I have been learning a lot recently. My buddy Nose Rain Richie's been filling me in as well, and I've been checking Twitter. I was checking Twitter. I know Tamashi, and so I was seeing everyone's guesses. So it seems like people have been wanting this guy, and so I'm stoked for the Dragon Ball Z community to finally get him. So it's cool. He looks great.
That's a great call out for Nose Rain. Nose Rain is another toy photographer, and what he does is he takes these incredible off-the-wall shots. You know, whatever you think he's going to use these figures for, he just has you can tell he's having fun when he's designing the photos. We did get a lot of questions in the chat about San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. Again, stay tuned. Beginning of July, middle of July, there will be some very, very good announcements, and I know any of the figure arts collectors will be extremely excited. There's going to be some figures revealed that a lot of people want to know about. So definitely make sure you're following at Tamashi Nations, at Bluefin Brands. You know, we'll be tweeting it out. We'll be sending it out for Instagram, on Facebook, Twitch. You know, we got a TikTok too. It's not as cool as Zay's, but we got one too. And we'll definitely make sure that we shoot it out to those people as soon as we know more. So that is all we have. Any parting words from any of our guests? Thank you so much for joining with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, super stoked to be on, guys. It was great. Thank you so much.
Awesome. And yeah, thanks to everyone in the chat. We definitely appreciate it. We'll be posting that video and the figure reveal image at Bluefin Brands and at Tamashi Nations, in the next 15 or so minutes. Until next time, we'll see you tomorrow for our final panel of the main event at 3 o'clock. We're going to have the awards for the Cosplay at Home contest. And make sure you go to bluefinbrands.com/made to take advantage of all of our sales and promotions that go through the weekend. So until tomorrow, we'll see you guys later.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Yeah.